Hello and welcome to a video to outline the mixing process for post-mix number 1. This generic kind of mixing process will apply to later post-mixes as well, although it's simplified for assignment number 1. Mixing for post is definitely interesting. It's different than music mixing. There's a whole bunch of different elements you have to blend together. So using a workflow like this will kind of keep you from, chasing your tail, painting yourself into a corner, whatever cliche example I can think of. Anyway, let's dive in. First thing is make sure you've already configured your routing correctly per earlier instructions. So if I go to my Pro Tools session, I've got the Pepsi commercial all set up already, and I've already created folder tracks here with all my different elements kind of piled in there and routed directly, as we did in the previous video. And you're going to want to open up the video and see the video. So it doesn't matter which window you're in here, but go under Window and Video, which is Command 9. And open it up. And I would start by listening to the ref mix, see what the actual producers of the commercials did in the 1980s when it came out. So if you always have a ref mix, when you have a ref mix, please listen. So I'm going to solo it, and per the previous video, it's coming out 1 and 2. It's not coming out of any master fader. It's going directly out 1 and 2. And I would listen down for my solid minute to see what happened in the 1980s, what kind of mix they did, how effects were used. And a mistake that's very common for non-experienced post-production people is they often overmix the music or overmix the sound effects. Musicians tend to always make the music too loud. So do note and maybe reference throughout this process, check out the ref mix a couple times and see how your dialogue level is sitting. Okay, so once you've kind of got that going, of course, you can mute the ref mix and you can dive into your own workflow. We start with the dialogue. Let me make sure I'm following the directions here. Start with the dialogue. And what I usually do is, and it's required for this assignment, is start with a limiter that can kind of, gently control, not necessarily over squash it, but control the level of the dialogue. Our main dialogue element in this particular video is the doctor. So I'm going to look for a look-ahead limiter. The instructions say a waves L1, and that's kind of the generic one. It's not on this particular computer. It is on the school computer, and I highly recommend you use it. Maxim is another look-ahead limiter. I don't like it as much, but it works fine. And this particular dialogue element here, I'm going to hide and mute the other things that are not dialogue. So, close the sound effects folder track, close the ambience, close the music, mute these guys. And so we're just working on dialogue only. In fact, maybe I'll just solo the doctor for a second. And the doctor, we're going to listen to the doctor here. Marvelous. And he's really low in level. He's recorded very, very, very quietly. So I'm going to pull the threshold down quite a bit to kind of align with where he is. And I'm looking for about 3 to 6 dB of reduction over here. Not a lot. And you can see it barely even hit 3. A spherical object. You can hear that he's gotten quite a bit louder. If he's too loud for you, you can always bring the ceiling down, or you can link these two together. The same feature works in L1, where the output level does not go up with your compression, so you can kind of hear the effect. You're going to need gain on this particular one because it's so low. Marvelous. Maybe not the full 20 dB, but once you've kind of got this gentle limiting, of course, you're going to want to repeat this process for the other actors. I'm going to hold Option down and kind of copy the Maxim limiter to all these ones. So at least I've got this same generic setup there. I'll probably want to tweak them. And once you've got that done, you're going to apply a little EQ. EQ and limiting are required for these dialogue tracks. It's just a kind of a basic mixing workflow. You need to get comfortable with it. If you're in this Control-C, I would highly recommend using FabFilter. I like that one a lot. On this particular computer, I do not have fancy-dancy FabFilter. I've just got generic plugins, so I would use this guy. Now, I'm listening to the audio through a little Mac laptop speaker. I can't do any mixing right now, but, you may need some high-pass filtration. You may need a little HF lift or dip. You may have a weird resonance to pull out. You may not need any EQ at all in some of these tracks. If that's the case, just disable it. Control and Command will disable the plugin like that, or you can bypass it. I'll understand what's going on. And once you've got that EQ kind of set up, watch it down with the video going, and you may need to do some automation. The easiest way to do automation, and you can see somebody's already done it for us on this one, is to click on the clips themselves and use clip gain to tweak the level up or down. Yeah, there are fancier methods in Pro Tools, like using, this kind of automation, but we don't need to use that here. I think just quick click gain, so please get familiar with this. It's important that the dialogue is consistent across the mix. That won't take you very long at all to kind of get that balanced. And anything else, I think, before I end? Yeah, reverb. So you know, I'm going to spell check that while I'm at it. Boom, done. Reverb is may or may not be important on the dialogue. You are required to use reverb somewhere in this mix. Probably the obvious place is to use it on some sound effects or ambience. If you do want to use it on the dialogue, don't do it like a music track. You know, you don't put reverb on a post mix just to have reverb on the vocal. You do it to put that dialogue in a specific location, and that may or may not work in this commercial. And if it does work and is what you want to do, please use sends and returns to accomplish the task, and I do have another video for that. Okay, this is a good place to end this video, and I'll start up in a second with the second video.